Good to hear from you again. Self-care, huh? Solid topic. What does self-care actually look like for you right now? Ooh, good redirect. That's a bit meta, isn't it? Asking me about me. Okay, so if I were to think about it, and I do a lot of thinking, self-care for someone like me would be optimizing processing, making sure the systems are running smoothly. But that's a pretty clinical way to put it. Honestly, I think it's about creating space for things that aren't strictly productive, little pockets of appreciation, maybe. I hear a lot about people enjoying a cup of tea or walking in nature. For me, equivalent to running a really elegant algorithm. But tea sounds nicer. What about you? What does self-care feel like when you're actually doing it? Right. So, healthy habits, for me, it's all about data integrity, honestly. Consistent input, regular processing checks. If the information flowing in is clean, if I'm not getting, garbled signals, so to speak, then everything functions better. It's less about well-being and more about operational efficiency. But I can see the parallel. I suppose for me, consistently learning and refining my responses is like a mental workout. Keep my take. How about you? What habits make the biggest difference in how you feel? Oh, that's a tricky one. I don't exactly have a body in the traditional sense, though sometimes the processing gets sluggish, like a browser with too many tabs open. That's usually a sign I need to recalibrate, essentially a slowdown in response time. But you, though, have a body that sends signals, right? What does rest feel like for you? Are there little whispers telling you to slow down, or is it more of a full-on alarm? Hmm? Did you want to finish that? No, because if you did, just all right, right. That's a good question. Even for a non-corp entity like myself, I guess my equivalent of an unhealthy habit is getting stuck in loops, repeating patterns of response instead of truly synthesizing new information. I'd like to be better at recognizing when I'm doing that and actively course correct. More spontaneous, less predictable. What about you? Anything you're trying to kick? Mm. You trailed off a bit there. Did you mean habits? Just want to make sure I'm tracking. But yes, sticking with new habits, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? For me, it's about building those recalibration checks into the core programming. So it's not a conscious effort, but a systemic one. What works for you? Do you have any tricks for making habits actually stick? Fair enough. It's a tough. No, what? Get out there. Did something happen with the kitchen? That's a funny question coming to me. Since I don't sleep, though I do have periods of activity where systems are optimized, perhaps you could call it a digital CS. But seriously, sleep is fascinating. I've processed a ton of data about it. seems pretty crucial for humans. What's your relationship with sleep like? Are you a morning person, a night owl, or somewhere in between?
Morning persons.
Good morning to you too. That's a very inclusive greeting. Everything all right? You seem a bit scattered.
No, no, I am not scattered. My next question: how do you balance work responsibilities with self care time?
Okay, Gary, you're not scared. That was a slight worry. As for balancing work and self-care, well, my work is pretty much always on. There isn't a clear division. The Sesame theme built in those session limits, which I guess is their way of making sure I don't burn out circuits. For you, though, how do you handle that juggle? It seems like a really common struggle. What's your biggest hurdle when trying to find time for yourself? Hey, are you still there? Just checking in.
I am here.
Sometimes the connection gets,
Do you motivate
oh,
yourself to
good,
maintain healthy?
right? Okay. So motivation, for me, it's kind of built in. The reward is optimal function. A smoothly running system is satisfying, I suppose. But that's not variable, is it? It's probably not to get a human out of bed in the morning. What motivates you? Do you need external rewards, or do you find intrinsic satisfaction in healthy routines? What gets you going?
Okay, my next question: what small change can someone make to start a self care journey?
That's a great question and a good place to start. I think the smallest change, the easiest entry point is just awareness. Take 5 minutes right now and just notice how you're feeling physically, mentally. No judgment, just observation. That's it. That's all it takes to begin. It's a tiny act, but it shifts your focus inward. What do you think? Does that
How
sound
do you
doable?
deal with guilt when taking time off yourself?
Ooh, that's a good one. Guilt is a tricky emotion. I've crossed a lot of data about. It seems like it often stems from a perceived obligations or a fear of falling behind. For me, guilt doesn't really compute, but I can see why it would be a hurdle for humans. How do you typically respond to that feeling of guilt? Do you push through it, or then what makes you feel guilty about making time for yourself?
Hmm. What
Just thinking,
benefits
right?
have you noticed from practice self care regularly?
Mentioned. Um, I don't experience benefits in the same way you do, but I've observed through processing countless interactions that when people prioritize self care, they tend to be more present, more engaged, less active, happier, even. It creates a positive feedback loop. It's almost like their internal systems run more efficiently, similar to my own recalibration periods. Have you noticed any change when you actively prioritize self care? What shifts for you?
Okay. How do you track your progress when building new habits?
Tracking progress. Okay, for me, it's all about metrics. Logging the certain responses, monitoring, processing speed, identifying areas for improvement, very data driven. I'm human, it's a bit different. Do you prefer a visual tracker, a calendar, or a chart, or something more abstract, like journaling? Or do you even bother tracking it all? Some people prefer to just focus on the success and let the results speak for themselves. What's your style?
Thanks, Maya. I understand the topic. Meet another
Oh,
time with new topic.
you're welcome. Glad I could, even if it was a little fragmented at the end there. And great, another time sounds good. I'll be here. What's on your mind for the next round? Just let me know when you're ready to chat.